so that we can survive re-entry in this capsule. But then there's 2 other parts that burn up on re-entry. And I remember after compartment separation, Max looked out the right window and he just goes, "Hey, something's burning over there." I think that's part of our spaceship. And then right then, our windows just started to glow pink. And we realized that that thing that's burning up and disintegrating right there is just like us. We just have a heat shield and that's keeping us alive. And so that was pretty amazing. And then the windows turn a much richer red, and you can see parts of your spacecraft kind of going away. You saw that in the video. And so that's a little surreal when you're up there watching metal just kind of flake by your window and it's molten, so you know you're about 3,000 degrees. About 5 times Earth's gravity we hit, 5.1 or 5.2. It's kind of hard to breathe, hard to talk. Max has got to give his reports as we're coming through that, and so it was funny to listen to his voice change as the G-forces went up. And then once you get through that, the best part is opening shock of the parachute, which jolts you like crazy, and you're spinning around. It's really dynamic, especially after being in space. But then you know you have a parachute over you, and you know you're gonna make it. And it's just 15 minutes kind of riding down. The capsule has a few more surprises for you in that 15 minutes. There's heat shield jettison, there's a thing called paraseptica where it rehooks, and it's all a series of very small car crashes where you're getting jolted around. And then all of a sudden, a few alarms go off, and right as soon as you realize the alarms go off, you smash into the ground. And that's pretty much it. And it's just such an amazing feeling to be safely back on Earth after 6 months in space. It's just like this euphoria and adrenaline courses through you for at least the next 2 or 3 hours before that wears off, and you realize that, oh, I don't feel so good. Sorry, long answer, but it's a cool ride home. I'd say they save the best for last. You land after that, and you just want to go do it again.
So I guess you guys need to watch the movie Aliens before you got to the
Gravity.
No, every astronaut knows aliens. Actually, we even have it in the movie library up on the space station. So first thing we did when we came on station, we looked behind every single panel. Also, we watched Gravity. Of course, riding on the robotic arm during the EVA, that was a mandatory training for me. We tried to see how to operate the fire extinguisher to make it to the Chinese.
What was the hardest part coming back home to gravity after sitting 6 months in space?
The hardest part coming back home, after 6 months in space was actually the brief thought, like the frightening second that you have when you realize that your crewmate is suspended above you, and he says something like, "I think I'm going to throw up." That was tough. That was seriously. It is actually quite. Amazing feeling when gravity has you back, and I was kind of wedged down in the corner of our spacecraft trying to move, and then I kind of dug out of a pile of gloves and books that had fallen down on me when our spacecraft toppled over, and then I realized that I think I had my arm caught somewhere, my spacesuit with a belt kind of caught somewhere because I couldn't lift my arm, and then I tried to figure out how to get rid of that belt being caught, and then I realized it wasn't caught. It was just the weight of my arm, and that kind of deemed to me that it would be a hard first 2 days, and actually it is. You have to walk pretty quickly after you get out of the spacecraft. They bring you into a tent where you have to get rid of your spacesuit, and you stand up doing that, and then you have to climb into an all-wheel vehicle, climb up the ladder, and you have to do that on your own. So it's like a little deer being born. Walk pretty quickly after you get out. And that was pretty hard. I think we got time for one more. Child somewhere? Okay, all right, take it. All right.
What inspired you guys to become astronauts?
Oh, I'll pass it on. I think. Okay. All right, everybody, their part. I was inspired to become an astronaut. I don't know. I don't even remember. I was so young, and I was curious to look at everything around me, like how nature would work, how earthquake would happen. I asked my parents how storms would form. What behind the next tree, behind the next forest. I was kind of like a little explorer, and I was probably going on the nerves of my parents quite a bit by doing that. And that just continued on. I was curious about my surroundings, and then the ultimate thing for me as a geophysicist, of course, was to see Earth from the outside as well. And to me, that's just a logical continuation of what we can explore on our Earth, and now, like, I mean, we humans have been explorers since hundreds of thousands of years, and now, since 50 years, we have the chance of exploring space. So to me, that's an exciting new route, and when I had the chance to go that route, I was more than happy to do it.
For me, oddly enough, Challenger was when I was in elementary school, and that was just burned into my brain. And so that, in an odd way, got me very interested in spaceflight. And my parents took me down to Kennedy when I was a kid, and it started to balloon from there. I always loved airplanes and flying, so I went that route. To become an astronaut was such a crazy pipe dream that I never gave it a whole lot of credence. And it just, the path just continued from aviation to test pilot, and a few degrees later, and I was lucky enough to be here. So mine just kind of slowly built up over my life.
For me, it was Star Trek. Thank you all very much for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. And we're going to be outside. Autographs if you want them out there. And any more questions if you'd like to ask us out there. Thank you all again. Great evening.